Let's take it.
Sorry, what was this? Truth
bombs, like hashtag. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Backstage. My name is Tom, and this is Jenny and Kaylee, and today we have another episode of Truth Bombs. This is one of my favorite sections because we get to talk truth to our members, to people who are watching, and not a lot of music schools are going to be dropping truth. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
You guys are so nervous. They are so nervous right now. They're like, we don't want to offend anybody. And don't worry, we're not going to offend anybody. But if we do, I mean, think about how many people get offended by music in general.
That's true.
Right? I mean, like, it's an expressive thing, it's a personal thing, and it's going to be good. We're going to be okay. Okay? So, on this episode of Truth Bombs, we want to talk about music education, talk about progress reports, talking about juggling schedules that a lot of families are struggling with right now because what we're finding right now, a lot of people are pausing their memberships, they're freezing, they're canceling their memberships because they're seeing students struggling in school a little bit. Mm-hmm. It has gone from grades are slipping. Kids are just overall stressed. They feel over scheduled and stressed, and so they're going to quit the music lessons. And then sometimes people are being affected by practice, the practice schedule,
right.
With homework. So we just wanted to talk a little bit about, different ways to address that. We understand that sometimes you need to take a break, but there's a few other perspectives that we can maybe take a look at, and we wanted to explore today. Sound good?
Yep.
All right, cool. So I'm gonna offer my personal. This is just my take on it from me as a parent. I've got 5 kids. I've got one that's really into musical theater. Tommy, he's 10 years old. He's involved in Spotlight Kids, West Coast Black Theater, Oslo, Music Compound. He's really, really into music. So I'm going to kind of use him as an example. And then my other son, Jonah, who's a competitive soccer player. He's 8 years old, and he's 3-4 days a week he's doing soccer. So a couple of things I would say. Number one, I think it's really important for kids to be involved in extracurricular activities, whether it's sports or music. Mm-hmm. And when you're signing up for those things, it's really important to keep into account what your schedule as a family is able to handle. And that was the first truth bomb we actually talked about. Is like, Mom, are you ready for this? Because you're the one who's going to be driving around. And so that's difficult for us as a family. Like just this year, Jonah and my other son Gus, they had friends who were playing flag football, and we had a spot in their schedule on a Friday night for them to play flag football. And I said to my wife, "Hey, can they play flag football?" And she was like, "No, that is family time. We need space." And so we are going to be passing on flag football this season, which kind of I'm bummed because I would love to see them, just try a different sport, but it was important for my wife to just step in and say, no,
right.
We can't do it right now. So I would say, for one thing, know your schedule, and stay committed though. So if I had signed up my kid for soccer for a soccer season, and now all of a sudden things are getting a little bit more difficult because of homework, because of school, whatever it might be, I would really try to encourage them to stick with it. Mm-hmm. If it's just their grades are slipping and they still want to do it. Like that's right. One thing. Like, does the kid still want to do it? Have you guys ever had that experience in your own life where you wanted to do something but you were struggling and you had to find a way to make it work?
My daily life.
I bet as a kid, maybe you were like...
As a kid, I mean, we just had structure. We had a schedule, and we just had to be organized. So it was go to school, go to after-school sports, and then come home and do your 4-H chores. And then we still had dinner as a family at the table, which I know a lot of families don't get to do that right now because there's so many kids and there's so many different schedules. And there's, I think, a lot more activities offered today than when I was a kid. Yeah. I really think there is. I think there's a lot of different things that people can do. And I think at times, like, our parents really wanted us to be involved in everything. Mm-hmm. And I'm thankful that they did because I'm very social. I've never met a stranger. I know a lot of people. I have experience doing a variety of different things, so I'm glad that they did it, but it did take a commitment from the entire family. Mm-hmm. And the people that made the most sacrifices were our parents. Mm-hmm. So I know that a lot of times it's like, oh, they're slipping, or it's like this is this, but I think the parents have to be realistic of what really they can do. Like, how much can they handle?
Can you emotionally support the kid when they're struggling? Like, 'cause you might be so like drained from the day, can you be there for the kids
just
to
like
help them?
logistics getting them there. Yeah.
And also something my parents always pointed out to me, talking about how it's really a family effort. It's not just individuals.
Yeah.
Is like your siblings, your little siblings. So those the oldest, they're going to be at all of your things.
Mm.
They're there to support you with everything. So it's just something else to keep in mind, is that, it really does involve the entire family.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I think it can be overwhelming as well.
Yeah.
And just as adults, I was just having a conversation with one of the moms, and I was just like, how are you doing? And she's like, oh my God, the kids are involved in all these things. We're just all tired. We're all exhausted. All we do is go, go, go. And I think it's all across the board. I think everybody is just like living up to this expectation. Everyone wants to be better than the next person. And we want to be involved, and we want to go, 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 because I feel like that's the new norm, and that's the expectation. And everybody needs everything right now.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe think about just like emails. Like, I'm on email like crazy hours at night. I'm on Slack. Like
4:30 in the morning, got a text from Jenny on Slack. Yep.
So, and then it's like you're on social media. It's like nonstop. Like it's really about shutting down and like having that downtime. So I love that Natalie was like, no, we need that family time. Because I think that's what's important. I think too, like for parents today, they're so busy catering to their children. I think more than ever, where the parents lose that relationship and they lose that quality time to where they can kind of recharge and be the best parents. And I think it's sometimes, it may be the progress report or it may be this, but I think at the end of the day, our parents are just exhausted. And it's okay to say that, like it's really okay, because that's the truth.
Yeah.
And we're dropping truth bombs. We know that you're exhausted. We're exhausted. Everybody's exhausted. So I think in the new year, not that we're going to talk about goals, but everyone needs to schedule some downtime and time for themselves and parents. And
so we recognize the need sometimes to take a break from music lessons if there's an overscheduling going on. We recognize that break, but at the same time, there may be things that you can do to help create margin in your life in other places whereby you can still make room for those big rocks. I don't know if you're familiar with that metaphor. You put that big rocks in first or whatever. We can make room for the big rocks of things like music, because you value, like you really, because a lot of times when people call to freeze or cancel their membership, I hear it in their voices they don't want to.
Right.
They're like, we value music. We love Music Compound. We'll be back. We love the collaboration. We love the community. So we also want to offer some other things to consider to help create that margin besides just canceling, whatever it might be, music lessons. I think one thing for me, and I don't like to say this, but it's the truth, is modeling the kind of behavior you want from your kids in your own life. So here's the example. I want my kids to go clean their room. And I know that the best way for them to clean their room is just for them to focus on cleaning their room and not have any devices around them, not watching a movie, not having any screens around, just go clean your room. Meanwhile, when they go to clean the room, they'll say, can we put a movie on while we're cleaning? I'm like, no, you cannot. As soon as they get out of the kitchen and I have to clean the kitchen and do the dishes, I grab my phone, put my AirPods in, and I'm watching a Netflix. Well, now Disney Plus, because Disney Plus is out. So I'm watching Disney Plus. So that's on me, that I'm not modeling behavior that I want them to see. So to this point, I think it's really important for us to model behavior of creating room in your own life. So the kids can see I need to create room in my own life, in their own lives. And I was talking to you, Kaylee, about this. How much time are your kids spending on screens?
Yeah.
You know,
we all are that.
That was my point. That was my point. Like, I'm doing it too. And exactly. So like, is there room in your life that we could, instead of canceling music lessons, cancel Disney Plus? Oh, I can't believe I said it.
I know, I did
or
it.
Netflix. Like, cancel that stuff.
I did it last week. Like, every lunch break, I'm usually like on my phone, flipping through Facebook, whatever. And then last Monday, I was like, okay, I need to plan meals. So I actually planned meals, and I actually cooked at home last week because I got off my phone for 30 minutes,
Right. I will say the phones, and even like the parents in our lounge, I'm like, do you want adult coloring? Like, they're all on, they're always on, we're all on our devices. But as you said, I think that instead of like eliminating the music lessons, because it is 30 minutes, it's expressive, it's beneficial, it allows emotions to kind of play. And they're learning, and it's inspirational. So I really think that, and music is very good. It's educational, and it's good for your brain. There's lots of research why you should have music in your life. So I think to your point is there's got to be other things that maybe you can cut prior to music lessons. One being screen time. I think it's important, though, that they do have sports and outdoor play.
Totally.
So,
well, that's something that my parents had me do anytime that I was like, they're like, well, why are your grades slipping or whatever it was. I go, well, I'm overwhelmed. They're like, okay, well, what activities are you doing? So I'd list out what activities. Okay, well, are there any that you really want to quit? I was like, well, not necessarily. So then I started going through and make T-charts. Okay, pros and cons of each thing. And okay, if all of them are really worth it, and a lot of them are, and that's the other thing, they wouldn't just let me quit something because they're like, I don't want to do math
Right.
club or something I made up.
Yeah.
Like, no, but what's the benefit of it? So, you know, if music's really beneficial, you're going to have to stick with that. You need the physical activity of doing soccer, so you're going to stick with that. Plus, you
Mhm.
committed to a season.
Mhm.
But it's looking at all that. And then there's definitely been times where, like, I finish something and come back after a season and go, okay, where I'm at in my life, I'm moving more towards this. I'm going to have, like, I'd stopped showing animals when I went to high school because I was doing more
Yeah.
with after school activities. So I just had to switch and reevaluate. But
Right.
sometimes it would usually always turn into a discussion, not in a bad way, but just a discussion like, okay, well, do you see the good, do you see the bad, and how can you change things, rearrange your schedule, put it in my plate,
That's
Yes,
true.
yeah, I'm
Giving the
growing up.
kids the opportunity to say, like, what are
at
you
least
yeah.
see, so that way, you know, when you are an adult, you can manage those skills, not just go, what do I do?
Yeah.
Right,
No,
right.
totally. I think that's great.
So when you tell your kids to go clean the room, are you going to clean your room?
Usually, yeah.
So you are.
Yeah. Yeah, because
You're leading by example.
we have 5 kids, so there's always a room that needs to be cleaned.
Got it. Okay. Okay.
But my point there was like, I don't want them to watch the screen, and here I am watching the screen while I'm
Well, I
cleaning.
just
Yeah.
don't understand how you can like effectively clean if you're watching TV.
I can do the dishes while I'm watching Netflix. It's the
I'm
dishwasher.
never eating on any dishes in your house. Just so you know.
Nice. Well, we thank you for joining us for this episode of Truth Bombs. We hope that the truth we shared is truth in love. You know, because we love you, we love your kids. We want to see the benefit of music in their lives. If that's the season that they're in, if that's something that's going to work with your schedule, just know that we recognize it. We
You
recognize
see the big picture. Of
yeah,
it,
we
Right.
see the big picture. It's not just about your kid coming in for 30 minutes and then they leave. No, it's your whole family, and we get that. And if we can help in any way with any of those things, time commitments or scheduling, like we're here to help you for sure.
Awesome. And we're just so thankful for you. Thank you for being part of our family.
Thanks a lot. We'll catch you later. Peace.